Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's class, we're going to be talking about the sciatic foramen, the greater and lesser sciatic foramen, but more specifically the greater sciatic foramen. Now this foramen, there are two openings in the posterior aspect of the pelvis that allows for structures to enter and also leave. Now the greater sciatic foramen specifically, it is larger and is separated from lesser sciatic foramen by the sacrospinous ligament. So let's talk about the greater sciatic foramen specifically for the purpose of this class. And just like every other anatomical structure, it has borders. So let's consider this diagram to discuss the borders of the greater sciatic foramen. Now, superiorly, it is by the anterior sacroiliac ligament. So this is the greater sciatic foramen. This space, this little space, is the greater sciatic foramen, while this smaller space is lesser sciatic foramen. So this space is bounded superiorly by the anterior sacroiliac ligaments. It is bounded posterior medially by the sacrotuberous ligaments. Here is the sacrotuberous ligament. This is red portion. This labeled red portion is a posterior medial border of the greater sciatic foramen. Then anterolaterally, it is bounded by the greater sciatic notch of the ilium. This is the greater sciatic notch of ilium. Here, it's greater sciatic notch of ilium. So this is the anterolateral. Anterolateral is by the greater sciatic notch of ilium. Posterior media is by the sacrotuberous ligaments. Superiorly is by the anterior sacroiliac ligaments, and inferiorly is by the sacrospinous. Here is by the sacrospinous ligaments and the ischial spine. Now, earlier we said that these foramina, they allow structures to enter and pass into the pelvis, right? So let's discuss the contents of the greater sciatic foramen, the content. Now, before we can discuss the content of the greater sciatic foramen, it is very important to note that the greater sciatic foramen is divided into two parts by the presence of the piriformis muscle. Now, this piriformis muscle divides into a suprapiriform and infrapiriform. So we'll be discussing the contents of the suprapiriform and the infrapiriform, but collectively they can be called the contents of the greater sciatic foramen. So let's go to the contents of the suprapiriform foramen. The contents are the superior gluteal artery, we have the superior gluteal vein, we have the superior gluteal nerve. Once again, the contents of the suprapiriform foramen, that is the one superior to the piriformis muscle, is the superior gluteal artery, the superior gluteal vein, and the superior gluteal nerve. So let's go to the structures or the contents of the inferior piriform, that's the infrapiriform foramen. Number 1 is the sciatic nerve. Number 2 is the pudendal nerve. Number 3 is the inferior gluteal artery and inferior gluteal vein. We have the inferior gluteal nerve. We have the posterior femoral cutaneous nerve. We have nerve to obturator internus and nerve to quadratus femoris. So once again, the contents of the suprapiriform, we have the sciatic nerve, we have the pudendal nerve, we have the inferior gluteal artery and inferior gluteal vein, we have the inferior gluteal nerve, we have the posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, we have the nerve to obturator internus, and we have nerve to quadratus femoris. So I hope that with this you understand the greater sciatic foramen and its contents. So please, if you are to subscribe to this channel, please do so, and see you in the next class. Thank you so much.